Mark, are we all set?
All set.
Thank you, sir. I call to order this July 24th regular scheduled meeting of the TK Thornapple Kellogg School Board. Again, this is a regular meeting. Can we have a roll call of the board, please?
Flickaw?
Here.
Stanton? Price?
Here.
Hilton? Here. Wenger?
Here.
Hess here. Brock?
Here.
You have quorum.
Thank you. All right, Pledge of Allegiance. The flag is in the back, please. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You said the 24th instead of the 14th.
I'm sorry, it is the 14th, Brenda.
Sorry.
Said I might have said the 24th. It is July 14th.
Don't push
for the
us
record.
back down.
We're not pushing anything right now, guys. One day at a time. All right. Adoption of the agenda. Can we have an adoption for approval of the agenda?
I move we adopt the agenda as presented.
Support.
We have a motion by Ms. Hess and support by Mr. Winger. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? Thank you, board. Next item on our agenda, the superintendent's report. Mr. Pouch.
Thank you, Mr. President, and good evening, board, and to our guests that are here on this beautiful summer evening. 6 items to update you on in the superintendent's report. It's going to be a tag team effort between Deputy Superintendent Provost and myself. He has an item or two on here that he will discuss. The first short update I have is just a quick update on our summer projects. While many of our staff are enjoying some family time this summer, some of our staff is busy with projects. So our 2 big staple projects we have going on outside of deep cleaning buildings is the barn project, which you'll see there's additional material there, and we were on track to start this week, but with many other folks that are in the trades, this heat tends to change their plan, so they may be a few days behind, maybe from their other project coming down here from McBain. So within the next couple days, you should see crews on site building the barn. It will go up in a few days. We've been granted permission from the state to get the permits, so that has doesn't seem like a lot, but it's been a year worth of work, and the board and the community that has been involved knows the time and effort that went into that. So we're excited to see that barn get built here in the days ahead. And then also the Page Carpet Project. We're getting new flooring in Page, and they are on track with that. Several rooms and hallways already have the flooring installed, and we're looking forward to that learning environment for our kids as well. And both of those projects, are supported in direct alignment with our strategic plan of improving our learning environments and also giving kids opportunities. So we're excited to see those wrap up here in the next few weeks. The second item that I have is at the June board meeting for KISD, they had a presentation and an update on the second tech center that they're building in Caledonia. And over the past year, I've been fortunate enough to serve on the steering committee with that, with it being right in our backyard. I wanted to be up to speed and make sure our district was at the table and represented as they're developing and creating the second tech center. So just wanted to provide the board and community a quick update on that. In a nutshell, they're in the schematic design phase, looking at the overall footprint, what that building's going to look like. That's not for us to be involved with, but exciting for our kids is that it's going to be a 100,000 square foot building at about $50 million. So that is going to be an exciting opportunity for our kids to expand and grow CTE programs, to remove some of the barriers of the travel and open up opportunities for our kids. Looks like it's going to be a 2-story building with opportunities to expand in the future. So it will be a state-of-the-art building. If you've ever been on Ken ISD's campus, you'll see that everything that they do is done state-of-the-art and done well. So we're thankful for that partnership that we have with them. For a timeline, this September, they're looking at demolishing the old elementary building that is there. In November, they hope to finalize the designs. Spring of next year, 2027, will be the groundbreaking, and if all stays on track, which is hard with construction projects, large-scale construction projects right now, summer of 2029, it will be finished, and hopefully, therefore, in the fall of 2029, they'll be able to welcome kids and get occupancy. So we're excited to watch that grow over the next 3 years. The third item that I have is You've probably seen news articles on the state budget. It got a lot of publicity last week. Unfortunately, for the second year in a row, schools were forced to pass our local budgets without having a state budget. And that's disappointing when we have a statutory deadline to make and we're throwing darts at a wall of guessing numbers trying to, balance our $50 million budget. So overall, it was a positive budget with a $250 per pupil foundation allowance increase, bringing that to $10,300. So that's positive. There's several other changes. I'll just highlight a few of the key notes. The school safety and mental health grant that many districts discussed in depth, 31AA that we took because $1.2 million was a great investment in our kids and staff. They've done some things different with that. They've separated the mental health and the student safety. So the mental health will be $73 per kid, and the student safety will be $147 per kid, still tied to some mass casualty. They've improved that definition that you accept it, you waive your attorney-client privilege in the event of these mass casualty events, and it says what those mass casualty events are now, which I would still support that, because again, that's a huge investment for our kids. And in a horrific situation, if there was a mass casualty event, we would want all the support and help we could have anyway. So we continue to track that. If you've read the headlines, you'll also see a great deal about the commitment to literacy efforts. That's something Governor Whitmer has been very proud of in her tenure as she's wrapping up her governor time here in Michigan. But over $200 million will go into literacy efforts, which is amazing. It's great. It's outstanding. But there'll also be strings attached to that we have to navigate through. That's why we have the Director of Curriculum and Instruction, Megan Wonders, to vet through that $20 million. And usually they're very prescriptive, categorical grants, as they all are, of what we can and can't spend it on. And we'll see and present to the board what maybe we qualify for, what fits well, or what doesn't fit well. But still a great investment, and hopefully we can take advantage of the four main different grants that they have there. Those were the big highlights. A couple other things. They're continuing school meals, the transportation costs, dual enrollment, educator compensation. And what's interesting is Michigan has a declining enrollment. The nation has a declining enrollment. And the state is acknowledging that. And they're still investing $186 million for enrollment stabilization. But they're going to move it to a 3-year calculation average count. So that'll be interesting how that rolls out as they give us the formula for that. So overall, a very positive budget. There's good investments in our districts for our kids, and we're excited to learn more. It's hot off the press, and these are hundreds of pages that it takes, our analysts that we hire to do this through Ken ISD. It takes them a while to vet through it, but as that comes through, we'll continue to keep the board updated on it. The fourth thing that I have is actually something that we've discussed a little bit in our weekly reports, but now the rubber's hitting the road a little bit more. So with that, we have some banks that have gone out of business or transferred names and maybe not local anymore. So we've had to look at options, and Deputy Superintendent Provost has been working hard at that. So I'll turn it over to him to talk about some potential upcoming bank changes.
Yes, thank you, Rob. Appreciate the opportunity to talk, but so this past spring we were notified by High Point Community Bank that they have been bought out by Independent Bank, and that the transition would be coming down the road. I think it was supposed to transition maybe later this summer, early fall. So with that, I've had some meetings with High Point, also with Independent, including, I believe, their CEO, and just, what does it look like? For me and my team, we're all about customer service, and interest rates have to be part of that. I want to make sure the money that we have from our community members goes back to our community. So interest rates is of high importance to me, and so with that being said, got some feedback from them, and I think it was in the realm of 25 to 35 basis points. So for every dollar for a year, you're getting, 25 or 0.25, 25 basis points, which is 0.25% interest. So with where we're at with our liquidity portal that we have at Huntington, we're up in the 3.5% rate. So 0.25 compared to 3.5, I was like, it's a non-starter at the 0.25. So with that being said, we already have Huntington for most everything. So my goal would be to shift all the funds that we have at our High Point to shift them over to Huntington. I've talked to our courier, Tanner. He said it would be no issue because it is a little bit further drive because the closest branch is Caledonia. But with that being said, I also reached out about opportunities for debt funds. Many districts look to handle their debt funds differently because that is money we take in through tax revenue. We're 100% winter tax levy, so all of our funds come, January, February, and March. And as we get those funds, we would put them possibly in a separate bank with higher interest rate. So they may not do the day-to-day, but we're looking at a bank called West Michigan Community Bank, and where they have guaranteed a locked rate of 3.75% for at least 1 year. They can only lock in that based on what Treasury does with the interest rates, but where we can invest the money at 3.75 and then twice a year we just send debt payments. We don't even really need a checking account through them, and we can just wire payments to pay off our bond issues. I just want to make sure we're taking the money that our community has said, very important of the 9.65 mils to make sure we're utilizing it the best way possible to pay off that bond as soon as possible so that we either create bonding capacity or reduce millage rate or whatever the board wants to do at that time. So that would be my suggestion for banking as we move forward. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Two more things to wrap up the superintendent report. As communicated last week in the weekly report, we had 7 vendors on site for our potential food service director position bid that we currently have. So with the recent resignation of that position, as I've communicated several times to the board, we want to look at all options. That's our job and due diligence to the board is to look at all options. And food service director is a very complicated position with several mandates from the state down, and it's always nice to have expertise in your back pocket when you're working with that position. So we had 7 vendors on site, so those 7 vendors are the only ones that can bid on the food service director position. And I want to be clear, I always know how the telephone game works in this role, been doing it a long time, and want to make it clear to our community and to the board, this is only a bid. We do not have to accept it if we don't want to, and it's only a bid for the food service director position. It has zero impact on any of our food service staff or any other staff. It doesn't impact their positions. It is just for the food service position, and this is very common for districts. It's a very lengthy process that the state has to approve. And ultimately, it provides another layer of oversight for our department that is heavily mandated and oversought by the state anyways, versus, technically deputy superintendent oversees food service. He just talked language that is his wheelhouse. Food service, he knows enough about it to manage it, but it's nice to have the expertise there. So that's why we're looking at options. So just wanted to make sure, as maybe rumors fly, we are not outsourcing our food service department. We're just looking at options for the food service director position. And last, it's an exciting week here coming up for our kids. So Mark and I are looking forward to once again getting to the fair next week. So I would encourage any of our kids that if they see us there, we want to hear about all your projects. We want to know the time you put into it, and we just can't wait to see those smiles on those kids' faces. So it truly is an exciting time, and I hope some of you can get out to the fair and support our kids. So subsequent to any questions, that does conclude my superintendent's report.
All right, thank you, Rob. Next item on our agenda is public input. Is there anyone here that would like to speak? Sure. Let me read this little blurb. Mark will set you up here and get the microphone going. All right. The Board of Education recognizes the value of public comment on educational issues and the importance of allowing members of the public to express themselves on district matters. Members of the public may address the Board of Education during public comment for up to 3 minutes. Speakers will be recognized by the presiding officer and are asked to state their name, address, and group affiliation if applicable. As a reminder, all comments shall be directed to the board, not to the staff or other participants. No participant may speak more than once. Participants may not behave in a manner that is disruptive to the orderly conduct of the meeting. The Board of Education does not respond to public comment. The superintendent will follow up with speakers when appropriate. So at this time, we'll start public comment. We have 3 minutes, Mr. Provost, with time, but
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
Because I've never spoke before.
Sure.
So in that timing, can I hand these papers out to each of you? Is
yeah,
that
absolutely.
included in that timing?
Yeah, yep, absolutely. Or you can do it afterwards too.
I could do
Or
it
someone behind you can support.
afterwards. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
I'm happy to hand them out. I can
Yeah.
hand them
Oh,
out.
okay.
You're-
I
Thanks,
have a
Rob.
copy for each of you.
Just one per person.
For
the board.
each of you,
Yep.
yeah.
Okay, great, thank you.
Hi, my name's Kathy Lawson, and I've had the privilege to be a TK employee for 25 years in our food service department. I'm up here representing our food service department, and I want to thank you for your time and carefully considering the future of our food service department. My hope is to simply share a few concerns the TK food service department believe deserves thoughtful consideration before a decision is made. A management company contract may provide a short-term staffing solution, but it also creates a long-term uncertainty. The current contract expires in 2027, and I'm concerned about what happens after that. Specifically, there's a concern that hourly food service employees could eventually be privatized, changing their employment status and impacting staff morale, retention, and district culture. Thornapple Kellogg has previously operated under a privatized food service model. During that period, the department experienced 3 different directors in 5 years, creating significant leadership turnover and inconsistency. Stable leadership is essential for building relationships with students, staffs, family, and community. A management company introduces additional administrative and management fees. Those costs come directly from the nonprofit food service fund. A self-operated department allows for more of those dollars to remain within the district's program and directly benefit our students. Higher management costs may also reduce the amount of indirect cost reimbursement that can be transferred to the district's general fund to support educational priorities. Thornapple Kellogg has built programs that extend well beyond serving meals. Examples include our in-house hydroponics program, which provides educational opportunities while supporting fresh local produce, innovative programming that connects nutrition, agriculture, and student learning. These programs reflect the district's values and may not align with a standardized management company model. The department currently operates programs and services that generate additional revenue beyond reimbursable meals. These locally developed initiatives have been built over time to strengthen the financial health of the department. There's concern that these revenue-generating opportunities may not continue or be prioritized under outside management. It's important to note that there has already been expressed interest by 3 experienced self-operating food service directors. 2 of those individuals previously served as food service directors at Thornapple Kellogg and already understand the district, community, staff, and expectations. This demonstrates that qualified leadership is available without permanently changing the district's operating model. I respectfully ask the board to consider not only today's staffing challenge, but also long-term financial, operational, and educational impacts of this decision. Thornapple Kellogg has built a strong, innovative food service program over many years, and our hope is that whatever decision is made preserves local control, protects our employees, supports students, and keeps as many food service dollars as possible working directly in our district. So I want to thank you for listening to our concerns. Oh my gosh, I made it.
Great, good job.
I made
Good
it.
job.
We appreciate each and every one of you. There are 2 of us. Can I keep talking for a minute or no? I'm not allowed.
You can just wrap it up real quick.
Okay.
Yes, please.
There's 2 of us that have been with, have been through privatization with Chartwells.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of them have not, and those are considerations from our food service department. So thank you, all of
Great.
you.
Thank you for coming to speak.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak? All right. From public input to committee and liaison reporting. Was there any committee or liaison reporting that should occur? Construction committee? That should happen right now? Anything that needs to be reported?
TAPRC meets tomorrow night.
All right, TAPRC tomorrow night. All right, sounds great. If we don't have anything regarding that, we can move on to the consent grouping. right, looking to hear a motion regarding the consent grouping, or if we need to pull something out and have further discussion.
I'll make a motion to approve the items of the consent grouping 3A through 3D.
I'll support.
We have a motion by Mr. Winger and support by Ms. Hilton. Any discussion on the motion? Okay, that is a roll call vote.
Winger?
Yes.
Hilton? Yes. Price?
Yes.
Hess, yes. Brock?
Yes.
Stanton? Oops, sorry, Flickama.
Yes.
Motion
right.
carries.
Thank you, Ms. Hess. And Rob, I think we have some new hires there in the consent grouping that we can introduce.
Yes, thank you, President Brock. So like we've done for the past several meetings now, this is an opportunity for us to showcase some of our incoming talent that we've worked diligently on, very strategically and intentional with our hiring processes to make sure that, we go into summer being as fully staffed as possible. And right now, we have, one special ed position that's up in the air that we may have to hire as we look at numbers. But overall, besides that, which special ed numbers fluctuate as kids come and go, so we may have to hire another teacher here in the weeks ahead. But other than that, we're 100% fully staffed. As I've shared with the board before, we intentionally overhire in some areas based on things that we hear from our staff, such as maybe relocation options, or they want to get closer to home, or maybe are going to do something different. So when we get wind of that and have those honest conversations with our staff, we intentionally overstaff in some areas, and that's helped us out this summer where we've had people ready to go and some resignations that came in. So with that, it's my pleasure to turn it over to the Director of Human Resources, John Washburn, as he has some of our end of June new hires that we didn't finalize before the June meeting. So with that, John, thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me tonight. So the process started in end of March, beginning of April, and we're finally wrapping everything up. So two more awesome people that we're bringing into the TK family. First, Marcus Dukes. Marcus got his teaching degree from Elma College, special ed degree from Eastern Michigan. Just finished his 26th year of teaching, and we were very fortunate that he moved to the Middleville area and had been teaching the last 9 years in a district north of Grand Rapids. So Marcus is going to be a great addition to our high school special ed team. So
Great.
Welcome, Marcus. And then we've got Anna Bria. Anna Bria, her first teaching job. She's so excited, so much enthusiasm. Anna is a recent graduate of Hope College. She's going to be teaching English at the high school, and then recently finished her master's degree from Wake Forest University. So you guys are both going to be awesome. It was great getting to know you, and I know that you've already had a chance to meet Katie Dorband, our new principal, and she's super excited to have you on board. So welcome to TK.
All right, thank you, Mr. Washburn, and welcome. I hope you guys have met some of your new coworkers, and welcome to the team. I know we're glad to have you, and I'm sure they are too. All right, our next item, the board items for information discussion, bus purchase.
All right, thank you, Derek. Wanted to bring this to your attention, as we've done in several previous years. We've looked to buy new purchases as the need has arose via 22L, which are transportation costs. It's a categorical that we get through the state of Michigan. This past year, we had $412,000 allocated. With that being said, we know that this money is once again in the budget for next year, the 26-27. There's another $125 million allocated, which is what we received in this past year. So hopefully our allocation would be similar, so we would get, roughly another $412,000. But with that being said, the buses that we had in carryover funds from the year prior to that, we still have $172,000 remaining in this year's fund, plus hopefully we could get another $412 or so for the 26-27 grant. But we do know they are committed to the districts receiving that. So with that being said, Chuck, he's been asking me for months and months about new buses, and I said, I want to figure out and make sure we have the money. So now that we have the $172,000, as well as knowing 26-27 funds are going to be allocated for 22L funds, he has gave me a memo highlighting 4 buses to be replaced based on need, 2 of which are special ed and 2 are general ed. So the current buses that we have, the special ed are capacity of 30 students, and then the general ed buses are 77. These range from buses that are 2008, 2009, 2011, another 2011, and range in miles from 225,000 all the way up to 285,506 at this moment. So with 2 being complete, out of service, irreparable, and then the other 2, in talking with him today, the average salvage value of a bus in these conditions are about $900 to $1,700. He said, it's not worth it to fix even the other 2 that are running but still need maintenance and upkeep. So with that being said, he is looking to replace those 4 buses with leased buses from Holland Bus Company. And we use Holland Bus Company because they are a carrier of Bluebird, which is what we have all of our buses through. We utilize them so that our mechanics, when they look at a bus, they know exactly the parts, how things operate, and can be more efficient with that and with when we buy, our parts to fix them. So with that being said, the leases that he is looking to purchase, and this would be in the August board meeting, would have bus mileage of roughly 30 to 40,000 as they come in off of lease. The new capacities, while the regular ed were 77, they would remain at 77, but the special ed, based on need in the growth, so not only, we've seen growth in our special ed numbers, but to make sure we have capacity in the future, it'd be 47 and 54 rather than the 30. This also gives us opportunities for, let's say, bus transportation when it comes to athletics. Maybe the 30's too small, but hey, we could use a 47 or a 54. The other thing with the special ed buses are they all have air conditioning, which is a requirement. General ed buses that are 77 passenger do not. Each of these buses, though, the 2 special ed that we're looking at are roughly 81 to 85,000, and the 77 passenger are 92,815. So in total, he's looking at a cost of $352,711 based on this estimate. Yeah, that's where he's at with this, and yeah, but I'd like to turn it over to you guys. Have any discussion on that you may have questions about?
Anyone have any immediate questions? Go ahead.
What do you do with the, do we sell the buses even if they're down? Like, do you sell for parts, or what do we do with the buses that we're no longer using, that we're replacing?
Yeah, typically, some of them that aren't worth anything or totally not running, they're scrapped.
Scrapped.
Yeah, historically, we've scrapped
Like a
them.
salvage scrap materials,
Okay.
and that's where we're getting roughly 900, he said.
A lot of times what we've done in the past is the team's done a really good job of cannibalizing everything we can use before taking it to a scrapyard. So the maintenance team has traditionally done that. I'm sure they do that now.
Yeah, and
As much as they can, right, and safely.
I want to say one of them may have been purchased by the,
down the road, the church that comes, at,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Lifewise, yeah,
Oh,
sorry.
gotcha, yeah.
Oh, wow.
So I want to say, don't quote me on that, but
They did. The check.
They
came
did,
from Lifewise.
okay.
I don't know if it was our local chapter, but.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Lifewise and,
So,
Cool.
Yeah.
but yep. We try to get the most we can, some of them, it's really just scrap. Some of them, if they're salvageable, work with Rob to figure out what's the best way to go about disposing of them.
Just curious if we get anything back on it, but
Yeah.
thanks.
We've sold, I think Tyler, my first year on the board, I think we actually sold one that was, just needed to be updated, and they sold like on an online auction and got some money
yeah.
back from it. But, yep.
And what were the fuel types of the new buses?
So the fuel types, he did put those. The new ones, we have, both of the 77 passengers are a 7.3 liter gas. One of the special ed, that's a 54-seater, is a 7.3 liter gas, and the 47 is a 6.8 liter propane. Now, and I asked him, well, what's the difference, gas, propane, diesel, and he said, the propane, it burns a lot cleaner, the gas is cheaper, but you only get about sometimes half of the miles to the gallon. So there's pros and cons, I guess, to each of them, but he said, based on, this is also, we have to go with what's also based on availability.
Yeah.
And right now, this is where things stand on that front.
Availability and need. what we need.
For what, yeah, it's
for
coming
what we're
off of
getting.
lease
Yep,
that we
yep.
can tap into.
Yep.
You know, also, you know, I said, you know, what about if the board asks, hey, what about buying brand new? What does that look like? So he put in a cost of a new 77 passengers over 150,000 right now.
Yeah.
So he
Sure.
just thought it's a bigger bang for the buck to go with a used, you know, a few years coming off of a lease directly from Howard Bus
Traditionally, that's what
Company.
we've done in the past.
And that's what we've done in the
Yeah.
past few years, so,
Yeah.
yeah. And that has worked out for us in our fleet, so it's just always making sure that, you know, our fleet is, you know.
So do we plan on leasing these buses, or are we
No,
purchasing?
we would buy them, they are just coming off of a lease.
Perfect, gotcha. I thought you
Yep.
said we were gonna lease them, which would be different than what we've done in the
So,
past.
nope, we
Yep.
would buy them via the 22L.
Yep.
Grant funds.
Great.
Categorical.
That's all 4 of them that are coming off a lease?
Sorry, say that again?
All 4 of them that are coming off a lease?
That's my understanding, yep.
And I think Derek pointed it out, like, I want to say, what, a year ago, or maybe 2 years ago? I feel like we did the same thing, we replaced a few buses. Is that in line with how many we normally cycle out every year,
Yeah,
2 years?
since I've been here and based on conversations I've had with him, typically, you know, we need at least 2 buses minimum, you know, every year to keep that cycle so that, you know, just to make sure that they're running in. They have checks every so often where, you know, the inspections that they go through are very, very stringent, where a lot of times they'll be like, ah, you don't have this, you can't drive that bus anymore. Like, they're very, very strict with when it comes to inspections. So that's also part of the reason why it's nice to have buses that will pass the inspection and that we can make sure that we are transporting kids to and from school.
My time on the board, we've gotten rid of the very high mileage buses, unless there was an accident or something like that.
Yep.
It's all been very high mileage, and you can tell we're on a nice cycle of not having to go out and find 15.
Yeah,
Find
the due
one or two at a
diligence of
time.
finding those buses that need to be replaced, because the last thing we want as a district is to replace 12,
Exactly.
you know, or have numerous broken down buses where we can't transport kids back and forth. So thank you to the director, transportation director, for.
Yeah, and the nice part with, you know, in recent years of this 22L funding that the state has put in, really, you know, we can only use it for transportation-related items. Perfect. This helps replenish our fleet, you know, at no bottom line cost to the district, because it's really through we'll say a grant. It's
there
restricted
any-
funds for transportation.
Is there anything left over from the grant money out of the 352-711? Like, once the buses are purchased, is there anything left over from the grant money, or are we using?
Yeah, no, so this year, I had 172. Now, if we get the same allocation that we got in the 25-26 school year, we'd get another 412. So 586 could be our new allocation if you were to take our carryover plus projected new carryover. And with this, we're looking at 352. So, you know, what is
Yeah,
that? 230,000 could be still left over that we could look down the road or offset some other transportation costs. So,
And we are able to, like, we don't lose that after
no, you can carry over it for 1 year.
1 year? Okay.
It'd be nice to keep just in case. You never know when an engine's gonna blow. We had that
Especially last
happen
year.
when we were on the board. We had an engine blow, and we had to go out and find a new bus right then and there, so.
So,
yeah,
and it's
good to
also
have
nice to have a spare, you know, we had that one accident where that bus was
Yep.
totaled, and then you're playing catch-up, and that's
Yep.
never fun to do either.
Yep.
So,
Absolutely.
Good job.
anything else? So if no further questions, you know, likely you'll see a action item in the month of August for the purchase of 4 buses, roughly in the amount. We'll have to contact and make sure these are still available and everything, but $352,711 is his quoted amount here, so. But if any questions in the next month, definitely reach out to Rob. We'll get you answers and go from there.
Great, thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
Next item, board items for action, the McFall Elementary Bus Loop improvements. I know we've spoke about this topic extensively, I believe 2 meetings now. Is there any additional updates that we need, or any additional questions the board may have?
Yeah, thank you. Before we turn it over to the board, Mr. President,
Yeah.
you're exactly right. And just for the community to catch everybody up that, this has been one of the noted safety concerns in our community, particularly in the PM. If you drive through town and through our strategic planning process and monitoring of the data, it comes up, the concerns we have there. And in my year here, we've had turnover of crossing guards because they've been very close to being hit on numerous occasions, so it's difficult to get somebody there. We've had student accidents in various parts of our dismissal processes throughout the district. So sometimes I just think it's important to bring that back in. Sometimes as we start to talk about it for the third month, we might lose sight of, because I don't bring it up enough, that this was a student safety concern that got us here. And as a superintendent and deputy superintendent, it's our due diligence, again, no different than the food service, to bring the board options of the community has said, this is a concern, here are some options to explore fixing that. So as Mr. President said, this is our third month talking about it, and I promised when we left the last meeting that we were starting to get in the weeds a little bit of some of the questions that I don't have the ability to answer. I don't want to misspeak. So I said we'd bring in Travis from GMB. Travis has a long-standing history here in our district, built this building that we're in right now. He could tell you exactly where a future addition is going to go and a future parking lot, and the lots he's done in other buildings. So I was very impressed, doing this for a while. You see different vendors come and go, and it's nice when you have that sustainability and that long-term relationship that they know your district better than anybody at this table when it comes from a facility standpoint. So with that, I invited Travis. I shared with Travis some of the questions that we have discussed over the past two meetings, such as the, I call it single stacking the buses. How does that compare? Does that save space, trying to save some money? So with that, Travis is here. He's welcome to answer any questions you might have. And with that, Travis, I will turn it over to the board to ask you questions or just a discussion to help move this process forward.
Great. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. And yeah, I appreciate deeply honored by all the years that we've been able to work together as a district. And from GMB, just thank you. That's a great opportunity, and we also just treasure it. Our team is still excited for. They're like, when is TK going to have the next bond and the next opportunities that we can work here? Because our full team was just really just enjoyed our time working with everyone. So. Yeah, we had spent some time this spring with Chuck, Tony, a collection of representatives from the staff, just working through understanding what was going on at McFall. It's not necessarily a new problem, just an operational one that continues to be nuanced and a little bit challenging, and so we heard a little bit more about that. We worked with that group as well as our designers and kind of worked through some concepts, some different options, and really ended up landing on the one I believe that you guys had seen as what I think that collective group was thinking was the best option.
Yep. Sorry, I think Mark's trying to get it connected.
Board, it is in your packet. It is in
Yep.
your packet, so board
Yep,
members. you
and
can
we've
see
shown it the last several meetings as well.
Yep. And so that is the one that we landed on. That is the one that we developed some estimating on. We believe that it's not just an option that it isn't just for right now, but we also talked about what is the current capacity as far as buses and what is the potential for the future. How do we build some flexibility in there? Because if we're gonna do something here, Rob and Mark were also saying, hey, we want to make sure that we can try to have this be done. I think there's some challenges that exist out on Main Street that will continue to be there. We've been even all the way back, 2019. We've had conversations with the village about, is there options, things that could be done out on Main Street, and there is, but they're obviously pretty extensive to try to tear that road apart and rework things. In my experience as a civil engineer, been in this role for 26 years, it is one of those common challenges that exist with a school that's located right in the heart of a I'll say a residential area, or in this case a village. It's one of those The benefit is the speeds tend to be lower, and you can have kids walk to school. It feels like a great, community school. It's close to everything, but the downside is you have parents that are queuing in lines and waiting for a while, and in your case, have some cars that are queuing out on the road as well. So, so with that, I think what we had was what we believe was with the areas that we had and kind of the constraints we had, we thought was a workable plan, and that was kind of, again, that collective group was agreeing upon that. I'm here to answer questions and certainly can explain anything that, I guess, any of our thoughts behind this, as well as if there's other questions that you would like to venture into.
Is there any way to put, so I know.
Carrie, can you turn on your mic so we can hear you? Thank you.
I know yours, oh, you have it out? Oh, perfect, shoot. It's not coming up on my computer. I may be totally forgetting. I thought when we left off on it, we had said like the one we liked most was this option, but then we'd also mentioned seeing if there would be other options outside of like just keeping within the structure that we already have. Did anything come to fruition?
I think that changed at the last
did it?
meeting, yeah.
Okay, I wasn't here, so.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yep. And at that time, Rob went back to the team, and this is the best, safest, cleanest option we have in
just wanna make sure
order
I
to move
wasn't
forward. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Mark. No, good job.
Computer and everything.
There you go. Thank you, sir.
My question, I guess, initially was, has this dual line snaking method, has it ever been done have you ever seen this at other districts?
Variations of it. Obviously, every district has different space constraints. So this is not way out of the realm of what we've seen other districts do. So it's not, you're not creating something new that no one has built before. And again, this was something that Tony was at the table and Chuck was at the table. So we're responding again. If there's something that we're just like, this is not a good idea, we're certainly going to say that. And that was part of our conversation. There were some options that were out there like, we don't think this is a great idea. And this is kind of where we landed, where everyone was kind of head nodding and saying, this is within the realm of how we would address these problems. So yes, it is you can double stack it. We talked with Chuck as far as from a safety standpoint, they just have to make sure operationally they're keeping buses right there. They're locking them in place. They allow all the students to get to the buses, and they don't dismiss them until they're fully loaded and there's no more students coming out.
We do some form of stacking right now down there, right?
Currently, I think they just single
No,
file.
yeah, there's no stacking at
Oh, at the
McFall.
high school then? Yeah.
All the schools, I think, just single file, correct?
We double stack at some of our buildings.
Yeah.
I know Lee does, I can visualize that. The high school does. I believe when I talked to Chuck, I thought he said you were part of those meetings too. Our drivers are trained in that double stacking. I don't want to quote him, but I feel like he said we do it at all of our buildings. But the middle school we do, I've walked by there, yes. So we do,
Yeah.
we double stack like this, I believe, at all of our buildings.
Yeah.
And similar option, or similar, I would say operationally, there's schools that will, if they've got more real estate, they can actually stack them, just like what you would park cars. And then they have the students go out to them. Again, similar to this, they get out there, none of the buses can move until everybody's all done. The safety person is saying, okay, we're good. And then at that point, the buses can peel out. So it's a very similar operation.
That was the other idea that you would kind of mention and I elaborated on, about stacking them more in line instead of a dual single file line.
Yep, we did explore that. Part of the biggest challenge that we have is dimensionally, again, this lot was built for cars. So there's not, actually the buses can't make that physical turn. And so you need additional space. So you can see in this markup that I just did, we're kind of, I would say, made a little bit of a bulbous shape there to get more space where you could actually wrap around. It's a little bit of an awkward movement. I would say that could work, but it also doesn't. One of the things that we talked a fair amount about with Chuck and Tony is like, what is the bus count number? What are we designing for? And I think that was part of the case of saying, again, not wanting to be short-sighted. There were moments where we were talking about 16 buses and 4 buses, and depending on when they come there and what time. So I think there was part of it saying, let's make sure that this is a plan that is, that survives, hopefully for years, as opposed to just, hey, this is where we're at today.
And your initial thought is this is, not to call it what I think it might be, but it's not like a Band-Aid. This is not a temporary fix. This is, you think it's going to be a good resolution for years to come?
Yeah, I think from how you're handling things on the interior of the site, this is a good way to do it. Again, it won't necessarily, what you're experiencing out on Main Street, other than being able to obviously stack cars and pull them into the site now because you moved the bus traffic. So that's going to help, at least if you're going to have congestion. From a traffic engineering standpoint, you'd say you'd rather have the congestion and that happen on the interior of the site, because then it's safe, as opposed to when you get those movements happening out in a public roadway, that's where it starts to get dangerous. Not to mention on the interior of the site, generally you guys can have control over what's happening, as opposed to when it gets into into Main Street, the public is out there. So it may not be anybody you have control over other than going to the police or
Just correct me if I'm wrong, Rob, too, I guess. The problem isn't necessarily the buses. The problem is the parent drop-off coming into that current parking lot. We're trying to eliminate that.
Yeah,
But
they're
the
stacked
option
up
would
east
be
and
to-
west,
Yeah.
down the road,
The
in the
tra-
middle of the
The
road.
traffic, there's no turn lane.
Yeah.
And you get cars
Making
backing
their
up,
own- they're making
heading,
their own turn lane.
Yeah,
they just
So
sit
the-
on westbound.
The resolution here is basically you're eliminating the amount of traffic coming and going from that parking lot. You're putting them into the current bus loop, right? That's why we're building this additional loop, right?
It's moving that traffic, and what that does is it gives you the snake becomes longer for the parent cars. They can loop much longer on the interior of the site. You
But
can store them.
And they'll go
I
south.
think correct me if I'm wrong, the idea is not to make the snake longer. I think what is it, kindergarten, first grade, they all get dropped off there? First grade?
yeah,
So all the first grade parent pickup will go through the old bus loop now,
yes.
right?
And what
'Cause-
he's saying
'cause
is there's
option
more
B-
cars can fit in there than what can fit right there.
Option B was to keep the bus loop as is and just force everybody to go through the snake, correct? But that was minimal, if not no cost, correct?
Correct. That would be no cost. It would be just double the wait times. Because one thing we have to do next year that we've been audited on is we release our kids
Staggered.
maybe a couple minutes earlier than we're supposed to. So auditors have pointed that out, that a kid won't walk out of our building next year until 3:50 if 3:50 ends. So the pickup time is going to be delayed naturally anyways for next year, because we have to end at the time the school day ends for student contact hours. So yes, it's no cost. It is just going to potentially, it's the unknowns. We don't know. And like I said at the meetings, our team is willing to try it. It's going to delay the pickup. You're doubling the traffic into one snake. And the village, when we met with them, again, you don't know, but they had concerns about all of that traffic potentially going into that neighborhood back there.
No,
The First Street runs along, but I think it's Third and Second.
the development that's to the south.
There too, people are coming out of there, right?
Well,
Or they go
they
back
might
in
have to
window.
line up in there, or come at different times so that they're not in there, but on the south side, both loops will hold more cars than what we're currently at right now, so they won't be piling up on the street, they'll more be going down First Street, and is it Third?
Yep.
Third Street, and then possibly back into that development. Yeah.
I know the village had some concerns about navigating all the traffic to one loop, about where does 37 play into it too? Are they going to be trickling into 37 and going behind those buildings there? They had some concerns about that too. Again, you don't know. That's their wheelhouse of traffic flow, not mine. But they felt there might be some pinch points between the neighborhood and possibly 37, which is a dangerous road also.
I guess I'll be honest to the board, this is just my personal opinion. I'm not a huge fan of the dual snake method. I feel like there's still a lot of blind spots and potential issues. I guess I was unaware that we were doing it at current locations. I thought it was all single file.
I haven't seen.
I would prefer to see a different option, or, you know, maybe another option of aligning the buses more consistently. Like Jim maybe had mentioned earlier, last meeting.
I think stacking, you're gonna have a lot less kids going in between buses. I mean, if you're stacking with the nose pointed towards the school, they go up, the door's right there, you get on. Like this, you're gonna have kids going in and out and around different buses, and, I mean, yeah, you're gonna have safety people out there, you're gonna have teachers out there, you're gonna have bus drivers out there, but that's a lot of kids going all sorts of different directions. And at the youngest age that we have, that's, I mean, if that was middle school, cool. Those kids are old enough to do it. When you're doing the youngest kids in our program, I think that's a major safety issue.
I think that current loop design going out and around like that would allow us to single file and navigate that loop, even though there's gonna be kids going through some of that green landscape, that would allow them to navigate through the bus area and get out of there versus having them stacked as well.
Correct me if I'm wrong, I think scaling it, you wouldn't have enough buses in there if you were single file. Correct?
Yeah, they said if we did the bigger loop, you still would have to double stack.
They would almost be stacked up by the,
So John, if I can put you on the spot, not to put you on the spot, but I can. Yeah, are we double stacking at McFall right now?
2 buses.
Yes.
So it'd be like that was always my station at the end, so we would have 1 bus, and there were 2 buses there, and, I mean, I get what everybody's saying with the safety issues. We would have, you know, I would be there, and we would have the bus drivers that would be there kind of outside their bus, making sure that the kids cross, but it was 2, it wasn't.
So we stack like this right now at McFall. We stack double. 'Cause I believe we stack double like this at all of our buildings, I've been told.
When I was there, we only had 2 that were stacked double, then the rest were.
Gotcha.
Okay, so you
You're
could-
saying there's only 2 that was
Okay,
double
I'm
stacked.
following you.
So,
Now,
Gotcha.
what I would say is, for all of us, change is tough. And knowing that our drivers are trained, and remember, they do the routes at the other buildings too, that's something that we have to keep in consideration, that these drivers are trained, they go to all of our buildings and they go to the secondary buildings. So, you know, when I've talked to some board members about, you know, probably more of a personal preference, is it that single stacking or is it this double snake, we'll call it? And I think Travis hit on that. I think it's hard to argue one is better than the other, is one safer than the other. I'm not in a position to say that. But what I can say is that change is tough for our employees. And I think it would be important to keep consistency with our buildings, because our drivers would then be doing a different model. And I know change is tough in this profession. So something to consider.
and maybe it's something like what Mr. Washburn's saying, we might, if we do single file all the way throughout and only have to double stack, the ones right outside the gymnasium that's right there, if you only have to double stack maybe 6 of them, 1, 2, 3 right there, and the rest can be single file, that's at least when more adult eyes, I think, would be on the kids, but.
I would also add that too, Derek, that they would also get on the radios, like all the buses before they would even check, make sure
Yeah.
everybody's, and all the kids are on it before they would even release the first bus. It's just an extra safety measure too.
Yeah.
To Rob's point too, I guess, that's a very good point, Rob. That the quick study that I did, or quick research that I did on Google Maps, Majority of the school systems that I found that actually stacked their buses, all of their buildings did it. It wasn't, one building did this and another building did that. It was pretty consistent on how they do it. So the bus drivers are trained to do the same thing, I guess. So
Yeah.
that's a good point.
Yeah, and I think the one thing we can't lose sight of here is the danger that is still on the road for people that are, picking up kids trying to get in there, but on that, the kids crossing the street. And there's still a lot of danger, and the hope is this will help alleviate that risk. I think you always have risk when we have kids going around buses, but not only that, our trained professionals are mitigating that as much as possible, and then also trying to keep the public safe as well.
Yeah, I think we definitely all agree that there is a problem that needs to be solved
Yeah.
on that, the Main Street, getting traffic off of Main Street.
Yeah.
The line item estimates you got, you have $33,000 for a pond area. Where's this pond area that you're gonna put in there?
With the type of construction where we loop down what I would say somewhat elegant solution that worked in favor there is we're using that interior loop as a way to just sheet the drain, the water right into that center area. So most of it is, it's seeding, grading, that sort of thing to create a depression in there. And we're thinking that doesn't even need to be, I mean, it's not a wet pond, it's a pond it's basically just a depression that has some catch basins and we can sheet the water into it. You get a bigger storm, yes, it will hold some water, but it's not gonna be long-term. It's always one of those challenges with stormwater on school sites of other options could include, more expensive options, which are underground storage, pavers and other things to treat stormwater. But in this case, it ends up, I would say, is a pretty traditional approach and one that ends up being, in your favor, an economical one.
How deep's it gonna be? I'm more worried about the snow stacking up out there.
How deep is, what's that?
How deep's the depression gonna be? I mean, you gotta put the snow somewhere, and this is the problem. We're out of room,
Yeah.
right? So,
We haven't designed it that far. Again, it's kind of
Yeah.
a conceptual plan.
I hear you.
From my knowledge, I mean, it's not gonna need to be much more than like a foot or two.
Sure.
I mean, so it's not intended to be something that goes way deep.
Sure.
We know we got, there's kids that are right next door, so we want it to be ideally as shallow as possible.
yep.
We could have some transportation savings though, because the Bass Fishing Club.
There you go, get it right down there.
If you want it to be a wet pond, let's do it.
Basically, it's a retention pond is what it is, right?
It's a dry detention.
Area
Yeah.
for stormwater to go to when you have a flood or a heavy rain, so it doesn't just sit there in the parking lot.
And this is a site that, even in the previous iterations, I mean, there's some benefit because when we did the kindergarten expansion, we were able to, it was a relatively small amount of roof area, so we were able to treat that with just some dry wells or leaching basins. When you get into parking lots, they start to push a little harder to try to treat those, and I would say in the more traditional methods, you can't fit it all underground. And so by having that dry detention pond, by having the grass there, the trees, we get some of the stormwater quality credits that we need to get to meet the most current requirements, so.
I guess my initial thought is to maybe wait one more month to, I guess, move forward with this idea. Personally, I'd like to maybe look at a few other ideas, see what else we can do, maybe relook at option B. Just because, again, this money is coming out of our capital improvement funds, correct? So, that's a lot of money that we are putting towards this on a parking lot that is brand new 2 years ago. So not only is it frustrating that we're taking that money out of the capital improvement, but we're also adding on to a parking lot that was just fixed 2 years ago. So as me, I'm not frustrated, I guess, but I just need more time to look at this idea personally. I don't know what the rest of you guys think.
And none of our, this is probably gonna sound like a stupid question, but I have no clue. So none of that grant money that we had for transportation can be put towards this?
As of our knowledge, no. We met with representatives from MDE, Michigan Department of Education, and we made a very strong argument for student safety with the 31 AA monies that we took. And they politely told us this does not qualify. It's not part of the boilerplate template. So
What about the 22L? No?
The transportation that we also, the funds that we talked about earlier.
22L? I'm not familiar with all the boilerplate items for that. I don't know if you
That
are.
would be something,
We have,
to
there's
look
a lot
into,
left
yeah,
over with
you know,
that.
look into some language on that, and, you know, I can definitely reach out to MDE to see if that would be a qualifying expense. To just shift the funds from capital improvement to the general fund by utilizing those grant funds.
I'd love to see if that's possible.
Yeah, but we don't want to take money from future bus purchases and put onto something else. So I think you got to take that all into consideration. But sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say another point, I guess, that I'd wanna wait one more month maybe to, I guess, analyze all of our options is, this is not getting done this year. So the problem that we currently have, we're gonna have it during the next school year. That even if we were to approve this plan, go ahead, you're not constructing this before school starts. No way.
Yeah.
So you're looking at a summer of '27 construction, to be fully transparent.
Yeah.
So,
Do we plan to, I'm sorry. Going off of that, do we plan to test out? I mean, I know you just said that you were gonna see about testing out, the option of not changing anything and just rerouting, to see if that would work, instead of doing nothing and just waiting.
I think that's why we're having this discussion,
Okay.
is right now this is showing the community that this is a priority
Yeah.
based on their feedback, based on the known safety concerns that we experience every day. Yes, we may have to embrace it for another year, but it shows that as a district that we've listened, we've explored options, and the options are on the table. And yep, we might have to do what we're currently doing, what we've been doing for many years, for one more year, but the community knows that we have put time, efforts into this. I'm fully transparent as always. I'm very nervous about trying something and then going back. It's not going to go over well. We all know that.
Yeah.
Change is not good. And I will promise you there will be people at that microphone when we try it out. And then now we're going to go back, and then that's more chaos. It's
The first week is bad to begin with.
so
Always, every year.
My stance as an organizational leader would be, if we're going to do it, we're going to do it. We're all steams ahead, and we're going to embrace the challenges. But then I think we have to keep in mind, we don't want to try it and say that didn't work, now let's do this. Because we know the challenges that we're going to face. The challenges are going to be longer wait times, which, that's fine. You can put your kids on a bus too, but parents don't want to do that. So there's pros and cons that we have to keep in mind here. But from my seat, my role is to show the board options, and then from there, it's for the board to decide, what they want to do. Without any plan moving forward, starting the year, I'm a little nervous. It would be very nice to go to our community and say that, we have a plan for this, just hang with us one more year. So that's just me as the organizational, the administrative side of it. If we don't have resolution prior to school starting, I probably would begin the conversation with my teams of, okay, our community and board isn't quite ready to move forward with this. They have a lot of good questions on it. We need to solve the issue on our own, because I start to lose sleep at night knowing that, okay, we don't have a long-term plan to fix this. I want to be able to tell our community that we fix this. So that's just where my administrative mind goes. It's not safe out there right now, and I feel better telling our communities, yes, we have another year, bear with us, let's do this together, let's just come together and do this one more year, we got this, we've been doing it a long time, and without a plan, we probably would look at, sending everybody to the south side, and it's going to be longer wait times. And also, there becomes a domino effect. I'm only hitting on the community longer wait times. it's going to be staffing longer wait times that right now they're not in the budget to work an extra 20-plus minutes, whether it's teachers, whether it's support staff. So, there's a lot of administrative things to this too that is my wheelhouse that, I don't need to, fill you with, but I want to let the community know that we're working on this and we've listened and we're fixing it. Whatever that fix is, that's up to the board.
So according to Google, 22L funds cannot be used for this project.
Okay.
You can only use it for transportation to and from school, to and from career technical centers, and special education programs.
Okay.
So no 22L. I have no problem with this project. The issue I'm struggling with is $500,000 for what doesn't seem like that big of a project.
So I agree. We all hate spending money. And I'm going to throw this out there. On paper, the FFA barn isn't that much further off from this project. So I know, and my guess is this estimate, again, this is very surface level. GMB and the other organizations we work with, they're only going to put so much time into this to begin with because we don't know where the project's going to go. So typically the estimates are high. Construction's crazy right now, though. It could be over, but I would expect, knowing we just talked about the retention pond, that might be less. This cost, I would hope, would come down, but I would encourage us to, we're focused on the money, but we did just spend almost the same amount on the FFA barn.
Which is crazy to me because that's like a $150,000 barn at most.
Yeah, excuse me, during our last bond that the school went out for, we were one of the fortunate districts that did not have to go out for a second bond because we did it before COVID price increases. One of the neighboring districts had to go out for additional funds for their bond. So the advantage of getting it in early and having it approved would be that we're locking in these costs right now. Going to another meeting, I don't know if anything's going to change on this because I think we've had, Mr. Washburn's been there for a number of years along with the team here. I don't know how this idea or plan gets any better than what we have right now with our current constraints. So the village, I know Rob sat down with the village and I attended a village meeting and the village council was very concerned, and the officer that was represented there for the Berry County Sheriff was concerned with the number of cars that are out there. So it is an issue, and if there's more serious injuries or continued injuries that happen, it will become an even bigger issue. So I think us moving on this and saying, hey, we're going to put safety first and we're going to change this up, it just shows, hey, we're putting the community first and wanting to make sure we avoid a serious injury here.
I want to make sure I'm understanding everything that's happening right here. So we're talking about definitely wanting to change that. I don't think that's a question here among all of us, correct?
Correct.
That's not going to happen until next year, correct?
If we approve this project, that won't happen until the next summer.
Correct.
Yep.
But come August, it's the same outcome. Like, it's going to happen no matter what. If we wait till next month, it will still happen next year,
Yep.
correct?
Yep.
So I guess my confusion is to vote on this right now when there's still some questions of, fiscal responsibility. Like, could we do this in a manner, are there other options to do this in a manner that would save us some money? I personally don't see that as telling our community members we don't care. I feel like it's telling them we do care, it's going to happen, but we want to make sure that we spend your money, that we're fiscally responsible with the funds that you've trusted us to.
The plus side of getting it going now is getting the actual contractor bids right?
That's what I want to know. I guess I'm not understanding, because what I was hearing was, we definitely want to change this. Mark, correct me if I'm wrong. We want to change this. I want another month so we can look into, you've showed us the options that we have. You guys have agreed that this was the best out of what your company has offered, and I think that's great. Mark has said he's done some research. He, works in an industry where I trust your judgment.
Yeah.
Saying that you want to look into some other options. For me personally, I don't understand why it's a bad thing to wait a month for additional research, just so that when we do make that vote, we're saying, listen, we have done our due diligence, not just to address the safety issue. That's going to happen. There's going to be a change, but also to make sure that we're spending your money in the best possible manner. So to say we're just going to do it because we want to please, the community, make sure they know we care about their safety. I think that is still, you can do both. I don't think it's one or the other personally. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah,
unless I'm wrong.
And my personal feeling is Rob and the team here have put multiple hours into this, and we're on our third meeting of it. And I don't know how me personally can get any more informed on this issue from now until August.
Are
I
we
guess
able to vote?
my questions are there. My questions have been answered. So if you have remaining questions, let's make sure we get them asked. So that's why we have the expert here to get them answered.
Are we able to have some, like we had already spoken about doing a workshop before August? Is that something we can fit into that?
I'm sure we could, yeah.
So as your professional advisor, I always just seek clarity on the next steps forward. And this is our third month talking about this. Travis is here on behalf of GMB. This is our opportunity to ask all of those questions now. That's why we have Travis here. So I would encourage us that, if there's questions that we have Travis. There's no guarantee Travis is available next month. We've been meeting since December, January on this. Our third month as a board, plus several weekly updates that I would encourage us, if possible, as your professional advisor, to take advantage of Travis being here. And if we can vet through anything now, I would just encourage the board to do that. But if the board need time to think about it, I'm sure Travis and the team will prioritize some time. I just need direction on where do we go from here. Does it go to the construction committee? I would just need direction on what I do next.
I'm sorry, I might be missing something, but haven't we already looked at a whole bunch of options? And isn't this our fourth meeting about this? I just want clarity.
Yes, so this is the third time administration has brought this to the board as two times as a discussion item, once potentially as an action item as we prepared with the president for the agenda. And, we have brought all of the experts to the table. We have brought GMB, we have brought OAK Construction Firm, we have brought our transportation director, our leadership cabinet. We've been talking about this for 6 to 7 months. And, there's always going to be other opinions, but based on those people at the table, they felt this was the best option to get the traffic off the road for student safety, but also there is the no-cost option that we can implement this year of shifting all the traffic south.
And the first meeting was simply just, hey, this has to be fixed. So let's be really clear what the 3 meetings were about, because it's not like we had 3 meetings where these options were out there and we were discussing them. The first meeting was, hey, this needs to be talked about, this has to be improved upon, we have to get going on this. The second meeting was the plans, this is now the third meeting. So I don't see that as a rush. I see that as,
No, I think technically they're fighting 4. It was brought up at 1. The second one, we brought the initial plans, then we looked at changing those plans, and then this is the third with plans. I think we're,
Don't take this the wrong way, but regardless of how many meetings we've had, there's still board members that feel uncomfortable moving forward with an option they just don't fully feel comfortable with. However, I think what we're approving is to proceed with an idea that is similar to that rendering. Even the second idea that you even brought up seems much simpler and easier and probably way less cost effective, but potentially might fix the problem. So I think it may not look exactly like that because, like you had said, it's a rendering, correct? I mean, you still have plenty of probably engineering and
It's
calculations.
concept plan, yeah.
Right.
It would obviously fit less buses and probably has some questions of stormwater impact. So I think there's, I think there'd be some question of, it would clip some of the things, I would say some of the constraints that we had from the transportation director as well as Tony. So whether or not we would want to go back and revisit with them this type of approach, but I think that it certainly is reducing capacity on the loop.
Right. I expressed my concerns with the safety of dual stacking the snake line, but if we already do it at other locations, I'm going to take your word for it, and if it's what we do, it's what we do. However, you know, the other idea that we kind of presented was stacking the buses in line. We were told that it's unsafe and we don't like to do it, nobody does it, but then I found probably 24 other schools that do it, just with a half hour of looking on Google Maps. So I think there is other ideas, but if this is what you guys feel, and then again, it's just a rendering, I don't know, I'm just lost for words.
Would that, the new modification that you have there fit all of our buses?
It fits essentially the 12, but there's question again of, this is just in response of Rob saying, hey, if we were to look at it as just an east-west bar, does that work? It's, like I said, it's a fair amount less capacity than what we coordinated, what we've talked with staff about. So I think to Rob's point, you know, we didn't do this it wasn't in a vacuum. There was, we had brought the people together who are most impacted by this and ended up at the option that we were at, so.
And there's enough space from the school to the road to make that?
Dimensionally, we checked. When I say it's conceptual plan, it's conceptual in the sense that we've not gotten deep into the engineering of the systems. But dimensionally, yes, we were studying the turning radiuses are critical. You got to be able to turn the bus, and so that's why, and that's even why I was saying you can't, in that current dimension of that existing parking lot, that turning radius doesn't work for the buses. So you would actually have to explode that out.
Not dual stacked like that, right?
I think even a singular bus doing that turn it's tight. It's not, when we're designing lots, we're trying to design them for the buses, for the 77 passenger bus, so that everything can get through it. It was designed originally as a vehicular lot, not a bus lot. So when we lay our templates on there, that bus does not want to pass through there.
Is there any chance of, let's say you get in there, we say go ahead with this plan, and you get in there and realize that, you know, now that you're in the deep of it, it's going to be more expensive than you thought? Like, is there a possibility that that could happen?
Well, if you look a little more closely at the estimate, we've put in there, like, we have allowance for stormwater piping. We don't know what that number is. We haven't done the engineering. So to Rob's point, we've done some, I would say, some educated guesses as to what those numbers are. We have cost for new light poles because safety is paramount. So we wanted to include some lighting on this lot. We have included in there tree allowance. You don't necessarily think we want this to be just a grass and pavement, because that doesn't finish off real well and it doesn't reflect what I would say the nice lush trees and that sort of thing are in the neighborhood. So there's opportunities in there for costs that we've identified to potentially be refined less. Is there opportunity for some to go more? Sure. But we've also identified some of the general conditions, contingencies, things at the end that are also adding on to that number. So I don't feel like this number is way off the mark when we bid it. Could it be less? I would hope it is. I don't know what our climate will be in I would say Derek's point too, like the longer you wait, you do start to incur other risks of time. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen. It would be nice to try to bid this fall. That tends to be a fall bid for a spring project, early summer project tends to be the most, that's when you do collect the better numbers. The longer we wait, the more contractors start to fill up next year's schedule, and they become a little more picky about their work.
To build on that, just so the board is aware, because, this is maybe one of the first capital improvement projects in bidding process that, some of our members have been through. We need more time to go to bid. These documents are not the ones that go to bid. So it's going to be, I'm going to say, done this many times. You could maybe say it could be done quicker, but realistically, 2 to 4 months, I'm going to say, before the bid documents are complete. And from my experience, there's folks that live it every day. If we don't get to bid by November, you may not get a low bid because everybody's schedule is booked. So they'll throw their bid out there high in case they get it, then I'll squeeze it in. So, right now, that would be my mental timeline is, July's over, you got August, September, and October. You got 3 months to finalize, to put the bid packs together, because there's going to be, you got earthwork bid packing. I see electrical in there with the poles. There's several, you may have some mechanical with some draining, maybe that can be earthwork. You have several bid packs that the architects have to put together, and I would expect them a good 2 to 4 months. And so when we talk of this stuff, we need to keep, there's a lot going on with these projects that, again, administration, it's our responsibility to deal with those type of things, so we don't burden the board with that type of stuff. But, so when we say we have time, we always have time. You can do this project 2 years from now if we want to. But, that November bid time is very critical for school capital improvement projects.
I mean, being with the space constraints we have, we don't have a whole lot of options. So, I'd like to see what the bids come in at on the project and go forward with stuff.
And again, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, we're just moving forward with the bid process. We don't have to accept any bids if for some reason come August 26th and we get a good rapport of how things are working out there. Because again, we don't have an option for this next coming school year. I believe, like you said earlier, they're going to all just be fed in the back and not coming through that front parking lot, or we haven't really thought too much into that yet.
As far as the start of the school year?
I guess regardless of what plan we go with the school year, with this coming school year, if things seem to be working, we don't have to move forward with any bids, correct?
Yeah.
Is that correct?
So I'm not sure I'm clear on the question. I'm going to answer it based on what I think the question was. If there is no long-term plan to fix this starting the school year, which we're working on a long-term plan, we're discussing it still, my team would have to have the discussions on, for student safety, do we look at shifting everything south? Because there is no long-term fix for this right now. The board hasn't moved forward on anything. If the board moves forward on a long-term fix, I would not create that change of internal operational procedures for 1 year.
I see.
It would not, I'm going to be fully honest, it would not be worth the chaos for 1 year when we've been doing this for many years. So it's, in my role, we're always planning long-term out. So is the situation right now ideal? Absolutely not. None of us like it. But for 1 year, we would be retraining families that have been doing it for many years, and wait times are going to be longer, where I would coach up our people and work with them. We just got to get through this 1 more year. So crossing guards, 1 more year. Everybody pay better attention out there. But if we don't have that long-term plan, we would have to have that discussion on, all right, it's on my administrative team's plate now to solve this, because, we didn't feel this was the direction that the board needed to go at this time. So I think that's how I heard your question, that if we move forward with this, or we have an intention, we know where we're at, we wouldn't want to disrupt the operational procedure for 1 year, if that makes sense. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, actually, yeah, it does.
And I appreciate you explaining the process, because it is, like, for me personally, it's my first experience, and I think that helps me a lot to understand the time constraints, so.
We are, in this motion right here, if approved, we would be approving for $432,990. That doesn't mean that we could come in short of that based on the estimate. This is the estimate, so it can be short and we can have additional savings. Sorry, Rob.
Correct. Thank you for the reminder. That was my second point to that is when we met with the president, vice president, and Brenda to create the agenda, it was intentional that we kept it generic, where we're approving the cost to move forward. So now, the architectural firm, they're going to dive into those deep questions because their people have to get paid too. They're not going to work for free. So we can start to bring that down. So yes, it is just approving the monetary amount. And then if there are other options that we think we can look into, which always honest and transparent, they're gonna, short of shifting traffic, we're gonna need that space to hold buses. We went out there with tape measures and measured it. So no matter how we cut that pie to get anywhere from 16 to 22 buses, because right now, Travis hit on it, we have 16 to 18 gen ed buses. We could have 4 special ed buses. Right now, those times are staggered, they're not there. But the programming that those kids go to could change. There could be a time where we have 22 plus buses in there or a little bit of carryover. So I think no matter how we take this space and how we want to divide the bus, I think we're going to need the whole space just to fit the buses based on what our tape measures told us.
Thank you for clarifying that, actually. Good point. We're approving the budget, not necessarily the plan. Right?
Correct.
So.
Yep. Any other questions? All right, looking for a motion regarding the McFall Elementary bus loop improvements.
I will motion that the Board of Education approve the McFall Elementary bus loop improvements for a cost not to exceed $432,990.99.
Support.
All right, we got a motion by Mr. Flickma and support by Mr. Price. Any discussion on the motion? All right, that is a roll call vote. Ms. Hess?
Brock?
Yes.
Hess, yes. Winger?
Yes.
Hilton?
Yes.
Price?
Yes.
Blickema.
Yes.
All right, thank you, board. The next items on the board, items for action, is the school loan revolving fund resolution. Mr. Provost?
Yeah, so each July, this is the annual application that we do since we are in the school bond loan fund, or, we call it, school bond qualification and loan program, school loan revolving fund. There's different names for it. But wanted to bring your attention to, so when we did the calculation for us at 9.65 mils that we do, our current outstanding balance as of 6/30/2026 was 3.7 million, 242.61 cents. The great news is for a third year in a row, we are in repayment mode where we are projecting to pay off an additional $2,496,688 over the course of this next year, with a little bit of interest that they say we have to accrue at 5%. So that would be $60,177.73. We're looking at an outstanding balance of $1,263,732.34 at the end of 6/30/2027. So the great news is we're paying it down, which is going to give us a lot of opportunity in the near future for bonding capacity. So, but this is, once again, just the annual application, whether you're in borrow mode or in repayment mode, it has to be done. And happy to say we're in repayment mode, so.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Provost.
Yep.
Any questions? All right, looking for a motion regarding the school loan revolving fund resolution.
I make a motion that the Board of Education approve the resolution and annual loan application to cover debt payments without levying additional millage, with an estimated amount to be repaid to the school bond loan fund of $2,496,688 in fiscal year 2027.
I'll support.
All right, we got a support by Mr. Winger. I'm sorry, motion by Ms. Winger, support by Ms. Hilton. Any discussion on the motion? All right, that is a roll call vote. Ms. Hess.
Price,
Yes.
Hilton,
Yes.
Winger,
Yes.
Flickama,
Yes.
Hess, yes, Brock.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, thank you, board. Next item we have is public input. Is there anyone here that would like to speak? Once.
Read the same thing.
All right, we'll close public comment. On to board comments. Is there any board member that would like to speak?
I just want to thank Mark for, and Rob, both you guys, for your hard work, especially with just being so creative with our finances and getting that interest back into the pot. So very much appreciated. I know that's not something that a lot of districts take advantage of, and I really commend you. Very grateful for your creativity with that. And then I just wanted to thank the whole team for the respectful, meaningful discussion to ensure that the votes we do are informed. I appreciate it very, very much.
And thank you for your patience, all of us.
Yes, very much.
We all care and we're all trying, and you guys are doing too, but you're doing an awesome job, thank you.
Any other comments? All right, we now on our schedule have a closed session. We need a motion to go into that closed session.
I'll move that the Board of Education moved into a closed session for the purpose of reviewing attorney-client privilege information.
Support?
We got a motion by Ms. Hess, support by Mr. Price. Any discussion? As a roll call vote, please, Ms. Hess.
Winger,
Yes.
Hess, yes, Brock,
Yes.
Hilton.
Yes.
Price,
Yes.
Flickama.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, board.